Okay guys, so now after we finished every available raid in the game, well besides Hell Mode VYKIS I guess, I wanted to make a tier list about, well, every single gate. So I made one and we are gonna complete this together right now. As you can see, we have all of the gates of every available raid here. Starting with Argos, that's why it's not only Legion Commander, but I think Argos should be included. I know there's Mystic as well, but we only got the event Mystic, so that doesn't really matter that much, right? We'll start with Argos. Okay, we'll do an order, okay, of release. And by the way, this is obviously the tier list of how much I like those, and I'll explain why. Okay, my list of how much I like the different gates. Okay, first one is Argos Gate 1. Argos Gate 1 is, well, the introduction to raiding, basically. Although you could argue Fate and Abyss is kind of the first challenging group content, but Argos Gate 1 I actually think was good designed. I actually think for a first raid boss, that was pretty good, like how you need to figure out the different light and dark stuff. You need to, like, it introduces you to positionals a little bit more, like the pizza memory game, like it's a good introduction. Okay, it's a good introduction, I think. So I will give it a solid B. I think Argos is top B tier. Okay, I think Argos G1 is actually well made. Now Argos G2, that one is already a little bit too messy, I think. Although the mechanics are kind of cool, how you have to look down from the dinosaur sun platform thing and you have to tell everyone what's going on and all of that. I think it's also not bad. I think it's also not a bad gate. It's also more difficult, and you have a little bit more responsibility in your individual groups. But I think the light and dark mechanic of Gate 1 is better. So I think this is also B tier, but it's probably gonna be somewhere lower here. Okay, it's definitely lower than G1. I think it's still good though. Still a decent one. Okay. Now Gate 3 Argos. That one is some dog shit. Yeah, Gate 3 is terrible. I think Gate 3 is easily the worst out of all of them. That's complete chaos. The change of like time and like, oh, this is a dawn phase, that's kind of cool, but everything else is kind of trash. So I will probably put it in a solid D tier, and I don't know if there will be any other. There will probably be another boss in here, but this one is pretty bad. And I don't think we'll need anything more than these, by the way. Maybe we'll add an E tier, but I don't think so. I think G3 Argos is a D tier, and I don't think anything out of there will change that, you know? Yeah, I think Argos Gate 3 is trash. It's just complete chaos. It's also horrible to boss with the mushrooms that spawn that are kind of laggy sometimes. Gate 3 is bad. Next up is Valtan. Valtan obviously only has 2 gates, and it's the only fight that only has 2 gates. Now, I have a little bit of a hot take here. I actually think Valtan Gate 1 is fucking awful. I actually think it's a horrible gate. I think it's still better than Argos Gate 3. So I'm not really sure if it's low C tier or high D tier. But Valtan Gate 1 is... I don't like it. I never liked it. Thematically, it's kind of cool, but it's annoying to do. And it's also annoying as fuck to boss. Especially if you're solo bossing it. Even if you're not bossing it, I don't like it. I think it's annoying. I think I'll just keep it C tier for now, but it might be upper D tier as well. I think Valtan Gate 1 is pretty bad. I don't like it at all. Now Valtan Gate 2 though. This might be my favorite boss fight of the entire game. I'm not sure if it is, but I for sure it is S tier, 100%. It's for sure S tier. I think this might be the best fight in the game, where it's like, it's not too annoying, it's not too drawn out, it doesn't get like exhausting. I even cleared it on Hell mode, although not Deathless, but we did clear it on Hell mode as well. I think Valtan Gate 2 is really good. And the constant like pressure of falling down maybe, so you have to like position yourself well, and the mechanics not being super obnoxious, and like learning the random patterns is not super hard but still satisfying once you do learn everything. The counters are satisfying, the timings are pretty well made, ghost phase is nice and is also, you know, hard to do, especially on your first few runs, because it's such a small platform and you're constantly trying to not fall down. I think it's a really good fight. I think it's really fucking good. Maybe my favorite one, but we'll see. We'll have to think about it. Gate 1, VYKIS. So Gate 1 VYKIS, I'm kind of in between, because there's some annoying shit in there. You completely rely on the party not fucking up. I still think the design of it, and like the idea of like, on this boss you have to stand in the purple, and on and this boss you don't, and so on, is really cool. I think this is probably, for me, low A tier or high B tier. It's still kind of annoying sometimes, and especially when he does a lot of the where he jumps up and then does like this fucking circle around him and you have to run around. I feel like half the time that's bugged and you get hit, although you're not actually in a problematic position. I think it's a decent one. I think it's probably yeah, it's probably my favorite VYKIS gate. Let's go to gate 2. Gate 2 VYKIS. Not a big fan, but it's also not god awful, I feel like. Even though I'm a Surge Blade and she moves around a lot and it's kind of annoying sometimes, I don't think it's that bad. I know a lot of people hate it, but I don't think it's that bad. I like the ball mechanic where you can time stop and take multiple, and that you can bust through that with 3 people as well. I think that it allows for a lot of individual prowess of the fight. So I think, although it's annoying, it's probably low B tier. I think it's below B tier for me. I think it's decent, but it's not awful. But it's also not great, especially for a raid that late. It's not that sick, but I think low B tier or high C tier. Maybe we'll change it between there, but it's one of those for me. I think it's okay. Gate 3 VYKIS. Gate 3 VYKIS. Honestly, I was a little bit disappointed by that. But I will say I liked it better than Gate 2. But again, I think it was a little... Like, there can be so many patterns in here that are super annoying for no reason, that are random patterns, right? That can randomly happen. And that can make the fight a lot less enjoyable, I think. And some weird overlaps and stuff. And also, if you do too much damage, but that's almost on all fights, where the fight just gets weird if you do too much damage. So I'm not gonna really rate it around that. The last phase with the stagger is also pretty fun, I think. So I think this is probably right here. I think it's highest B tier probably for me. I think it's better than Argos, but it's not that great. Like it doesn't reach into the A and S tiers, you know. It doesn't reach into those yet, you know. Now for Clown. Clown has 3 gates as well. Obviously this is a 4-man raid. Just because it's a 4-man raid, I think it already is a little bit higher, because there's just less random shit that can happen, right? Although that's not really true in Gate 3, but or in Gate 2. But Gate 1 Clown, I think it's a good introduction to the raid that builds, you know, that is built upon in the further gates, especially in Gate 3. So I think Gate 1 is actually kind of fun to do, but it is also lacks a little bit of epicness for me. Yeah, it's kind of an intro gate, so I think I'll put it around here. I think I'll put it right below Gate 3 VYKIS, or above Gate 3 VYKIS. I think it's probably here. Do I like it more than Gate 3 VYKIS? I think it's here. I think Gate 3 VYKIS at least has some epicness to it. Obviously it's a Gate 3, so it's hard to compare that, but I think Gate 1 was a little bit too easy. That's the only reason why it's here. If it was a little bit harder, I would probably put it in A, I think. Because even in blind, we cleared this in like an hour or two. Even doing it blind was a little bit too easy. I think that's the only reason why I put it here. Gate 2 Clown. I actually think Gate 2 Clown is fucking horrible. For the most part. The Mario where you have to lead people around is kinda whack too. The boss moves around way too much. The boss is way too small. There can be a lot of overlapping that is super annoying. I think this is better than the wolves. But it's I don't like it. I think it's pretty bad outside of that. Gate 3. Gate 3 Clown is, I think, here. A tier, but not S tier. And I will tell you why. I think it's highest A tier because there's so much bullshit. Like the curse mechanic is dog shit. Where it just basically curses you and you have to run into the fire for 30 minutes and you can't do anything else and it's just annoying. And if that overlaps with some other shit, it's double annoying and you just have to spam potions. Then I think that has way too many invincibility frames where it jumps up and does some bullshit. You can't attack the boss. I'm a Surge Blade, so like when that happens, you're just so fucking annoyed. Like it's annoying as fuck. And it has a lot of damage reductions as well. It's also a really long fight, but it doesn't really feel like a really long fight because there's a lot of things happening. So that's not really a negative in that. And I also like the last mechanic with the bingo where he kind of tricks you. And you think the boss is over, but it's not actually over. I think Gate 3 is really good, but it has a lot of, like, as I said, some of the random mechanics are really annoying. And even the saws and the hooks sometimes are super buggy and can kill you, although you're not actually standing in it. And that can also be super annoying. So I think it can't breach S tier. Although I will say this, just design-wise, not talking about mechanics, it would probably be highest S tier. Like, it's a perfect clown raid. If you want to make a clown raid, design one, right? Aesthetically, it's perfect. So I think I will put it there. I think it's really solid. But again, like, I think the curse mechanic and the random jumping up and fucking damage reduction, invincibility frame bullshit, that's probably why it's not an S tier for me. It's probably the main reason why it's not an S tier. Now, for the newest raid, and where everyone was very hyped, because this is basically the last huge raid of Gold River or whatever. I think he did the Elgacia Abyss too, but Gate 1 Brelshaza. Everyone was super hyped. I think Gate 1, I don't think there's much to say about that. I think it's either pretty low B or high C. I think Gate 1 is too easy again. But we did it blind as well and it was also really fast. And the overall design is also kind of weird, kind of wonky. It's not I mean, it's a Gate 1, so it shouldn't be super hard. But I think I'll put it lowest B tier probably. Or I think highest C tier is fair. I think highest C tier is fair. It doesn't do anything special. It's not a very epic fight or anything like that. The boss is also kind of weird. It's not that great, but it's also not awful. It's just a basic Gate 1. Nothing too crazy, right? Gate 2. Now Gate 2, I kind of want to have two Gate 2s because one is not Procol and one is Procol. I think the Procol fight is probably highest A tier or lowest S tier because the Procol fight is actually fun to do. I think Outside is actually not that fun at all. I think there's just way too much shit. There's like a bunch of ads. There's way too much shit that is going on. So I think because of Procol, Outside I'm not really a big fan of, but the interaction between Procol and the other group is also kind of cool. I think it gets a low A tier. Although I would say, as I said, Procol is probably S tier. If it's just Procol. Yeah, I think this is fair. I think this is a fair boss right there. I think it's fun to do. You have to kind of sync it up. Procol fight is interesting and exciting, and the boss can kill you pretty easily if you're not paying attention. I think this is pretty fair. And we have Gate 3. I actually think Gate 3 is pretty bad, but also I think the amount of counters makes it more fun. I think if you have counters that actually make you do damage, that aren't super short, and you can do some stuff is interesting. The shape mechanic at the end is kind of trash. The shapes are I don't like that. I think that's annoying. I'm not a big fan of that. Also, I feel like it's artificially made, like, abstract, so blind groups don't really figure it out really quickly. Although we did figure it out fairly quickly, to be honest. I don't know. I didn't like Gate 3. And yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I think Gate 3 is probably, for me, it's better than Gate 1, but it's not that great. I'm not a big fan of Gate 3. I think it's annoying. Most of the time. I think it's high C tier. I think this is a good spot. Okay, now Gate 4. This seems to be everyone's favorite gate. And I think I kind of agree. But would I put this in S tier? Probably not. I don't think I would even put it above Gate 3 Clown. The design is kind of unique. And I like that you have to kind of adapt, that every run doesn't have the same order of things, right? Because the color is always different. I think that's pretty good design too. The counter or the stagger mechanic isn't really that interesting, I think. Personally, I would probably put it here. Below Gate 1 VYKIS, but above Gate 2 Brel. Maybe below Gate 2 Brel. I think it's definitely A tier, but is it above Gate 2 or is it a... I think it's somewhere there, but I don't know where exactly. Would I put it above Procol fight? No. I think this is a good spot. I think this is a good spot. I think both of these are good in their own way. I don't think it's that great. I don't think it's an S tier. I think this is good. I think this is a good spot. Okay, then we have Brelshaza Gate 5. Now, Brelshaza Gate 5 is dog shit. That is the worst boss in the game. I think that's genuinely the worst boss in the game. It's way too long for what's happening. Like, you're falling asleep half the fight, and the other half of the fight you're just praying to God that everyone got their fucking shit together and they got their, like, nah. I think this is horrible. I think Gate 5 is god awful. I think it's so bad. Progressing this is bad. It's nah. I think Gate 5 is god awful. I think it's below below Gate 3 Argos. I hated this gate. I fucking hated every second of this. I think that's the worst fight in the game. Like, just the fact that you have to wait for like 60 bars or whatever to get to the first mechanic, basically. Bruh. And then the fucking POV of when the meteors drop is super annoying as well. Because you're zoomed out into the universe. I don't like that either. Nah. I think that gate is annoying. Nah. I hate this one. I hate this one with a passion. I think it's fucking awful. Because it's way too long for what's happening. Like, it feels like you're running a marathon. You know? And nothing is going on half the time. And then when something happens, you're just like, please everyone, don't fuck it up. I don't like it. Nah. No. This one is, no. Like, no. Just no. Just don't. Just don't. Just don't. Now, Gate 6. I think gate 6 is also too long, but for a gate 6, I think it kind of fits, at least, right? That it's a long one, that it takes a while, because it's a 6-gate raid, and the last one should be a little bit longer, right? And I will say this as well, we progressed this probably in total like over 10 hours, right? And I think it didn't get as boring as Gate 5. Gate 5 was already way more boring after like 2 hours. Gate 6 was... there's always something... it's way better paced than Gate 5. So like there's always something happening. And, you know, it doesn't feel like a slog. It doesn't feel like you get bored halfway through, and then it's way better paced. But there's one big negative about Gate 6, and there's like 30 fucking different cinematics that are all non-skippable. And that shit is annoying as fuck, especially if you're progressing this for a while. The memory game mechanic is fine. Yeah, the shandy stuff is also kind of cool to do, where you're in different phases. It's also... yeah, the meteor counting is a little bit annoying, but then again, if you're used to it, I think it's actually kind of a good mechanic. Because you can visually see where you can't drop it anymore, right? Where you can't drop meteor. So if you understand how it works, it's not that messy, even if things fuck up. Now, is this an S tier though? Is this an S tier fight? Probably not. I'm kind of in between... like these 3 spots. Like, is it below G3 Clown? Is it above G3 Clown? Or is it tier? It's definitely not above Valtan. I think... is it better than Gate 3 Clown? I think I would put it here. Is this fair? Or is it low S tier? You know what? I will do this. I think this is how we should do this. I think Brel Gate 6 is not in the same tier as Valtan. But it's above tier of these. I think so. Clown Gate 3. And you're right. It should be like this. Yeah. I think this is it. I think that looks good. I think this is the tier list, guys. Do we want to change anything here? I probably dislike this more. I think this is the tier list. I think this is fair. Valtan is my favorite one. Gate 2, Gate 5 Brel is my least favorite one. I mean, just think about it. We've done Valtan for like what, 8 months now, and I still don't hate it. Like, it doesn't annoy me. And that is a pretty big indicator. I like this. I think this is what it is, guys. This is the tier list. Gate 2 Valtan is my favorite, then Brelshaza Gate 6, then Clown Gate 3, and my least favorite ones are Gate 3 Argos and Gate 5 Brel. That's it. That's the tier list. That is it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to sub if you'd like the video. If not, that's cool too. Thanks for tuning in. More MMO content coming your way very soon.